Naaman, commander of the army of the king of Syria, was a great man with his master and in high favor because by him the Lord had given victory to Syria. He was a mighty man of valor, but he was a leper. It is Thursday, the 14th day of July, 2022. Clive Walsh here, inviting you to join me for the reading of our devotional thought for today, and it is entitled "The Soul's Only Cure." That's the soul's only cure. And the verse today, 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 1, and it reads, Naaman, commander of the army of the king of Syria, was a great man with his master and in high favor because by him the Lord had given victory to Syria. He was a mighty man of valor, but he was a leper. That's 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 1. Alistair Begg writes, From any angle it appeared that Naaman had it made. Naaman was a man of the great Syrian city of Damascus. 2 rivers that began in the mountains of Lebanon flowed with pristine beauty into the fertile oasis where this city had been built. It was a place of wealth and leisure, and provided the cultural attractions of art, music, and recreation. As the successful commander of the Syrian army, Naaman had an invariable position of power and prestige, and he was highly regarded, including by his king, and no doubt, with his power and prestige came great possessions. In other words, here was a man who had everything going his way, except one thing. There was one dimension of Naaman's existence which cast long shadows over everything else that he enjoyed. His many proud achievements were dimmed and dominated by this one clause. He was a leper. All that he enjoyed, his many opportunities and his possessions, could not come close to tackling his problem. There wasn't anything that he was able to do, and the leprosy was spoiling his life. The physical condition that plagued Naaman is a picture of the spiritual condition from which each of us suffers. His leprosy was a scarring, contagious, ugly condition. It is a classic biblical picture of humanity's nature, which is tainted by sin. When we describe ourselves and our context to others, we might list who we know, the places we've been to, and all that we've achieved. Yet at the end of all that, without Christ, we're inevitably heading for the same little word as Naaman, but. Leprosy had no regard for Naaman's status, and sin has no regard for ours. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Romans 8:23 tells us, and all truly means all. There is no man or woman who is omitted from the scope of that all-inclusive statement. There is no wealth that can buy us out of sin and no goodness that can cover it over. We all suffer from the leprosy of our souls, from which there is no cure apart from Christ. Only when we admit that our status and possessions cannot deal with our greatest issue, we can then turn to Jesus, our great physician, who took on our condition so that we might be healed. Just as he was willing to reach out and touch a leper, rendering himself unclean, but healing the man entirely, so on the cross he became sin so that we might become righteous in God's sight. Take a look at 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 21. Today, you are surrounded by Naamans, people who enjoy prestige, power, and possessions, people who have made it but who are nonetheless spoiled by sin and facing judgment. Here is a truth that undermines our envy of others and arouses compassion instead. As Naaman required a cure for his leprosy, every man and woman requires solution for sin, and you know the cure. We have been privileged indeed to know the cure for sin. Like leprosy has no cure, the sinner has a cure. because Jesus is the one who purchased that cure for us with his own body, his own blood on the cross. Today, take the only cure for your soul, and if you have not done so, I encourage you to do that now. And if you have, pass on that cure to those around you, men and women who are dead in trespasses and sin. May God, by His Spirit, give us a compassionate heart and many opportunities today to share this life-giving truth. In Jesus' name. And that's the reading of our devotional thought for this 14th day of July 2022. Clive Walsh here, encouraging you to continue your reading through the Scriptures and Psalms 10, 11, and 12, as well as the book of Acts, chapter 10, verses 24 through 48. Blessings upon you.